Hey, this is Todd Masson with the Marshman Masson YouTube channel. It's a beautiful day here in South Louisiana. Now I'm gonna see what I can catch along these rocks. All right, these rocks line a deep channel known as the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet. It stacks up with fish this time of year. Now we're in late winter. It really feels like spring today. Beautiful day, probably upper 60s right now, but water temp is still 54, so definitely there should be some fish in here. And one of my favorite baits to throw here is a Bill Lewis SB57. This color is called lavender shad. You can catch some really nice speckled trout doing this, and redfish, and even some bass, but I'm really targeting trout today. Oh, there's a fish. All right. That's a good keeper trout. Let me spot lock myself here. All right. Didn't get any bites at all on that SB57. So I made a switch to this Green Hornet Matrix shad on a 1/4 ounce death grip jig head. I think my first cast, I caught that fish. Now he was like right under the boat. Oof. Water here is, oh goodness, that was a good hit. Water's 10.5 feet deep, which ordinarily I'd be throwing a 3/8 in water that deep. This is a good trout. This is a real good trout. Goodness. Look at this guy. But our tide is pretty weak. Settle down, boy. This fish is marginal. He's a little on the big side. I'm gonna measure him. All right, this is an 18-inch fish, a little bit bigger than I like to keep. I'm gonna let him go. So our tide's really weak. I don't think I need that 3/8, and I like the action better, basically on as light of a jig head as you can get away with. That's 2 casts, 2 fish, so obviously I picked this up at the right time. Oh, another hit. Hey.
What you doing?
I just came to the rocks.
Oh, you're down.
Oh, hold on. There's a fish. Oh, goodness, that's a nice one. That's a really nice speckled trout.
Is that you right ahead of me?
That's a really good fish. This fish is going back for sure. All right, this fish is about 21 inches. He's definitely going back. Big, beautiful speckled trout. Man, you love to catch these. Yeah, I tell you what, this 1/4 ounce jig head definitely makes a difference. When in a light tide situation like this, not a lot of wind, not a lot of moving water. I mean, maybe I'll be getting these bites on 3/8. I don't know. I'm not about to change to find out. There we go. He's not as big as the last, but he's definitely a keeper. And he's not happy. He is not happy one bit. So awesome. This dude is gonna get a boat ride. That's the size I like. Talking about eating, those are the ones I want. It's funny, some days they want those jerk baits and crankbaits around these rocks, and other days they're pulled off the rocks, and the only way to catch them is to jig them. Today seems to be the latter type of day. Oh no. Snag the rock. I hate to move to go get it, but also don't want to break off my leader. It's snagged good. All right, I came to get it, and look at that drop off right there. That's where those fish are holding. I just kind of stumbled on that. Big mountain. I guess not really a drop off, it's a hump. You know, drop off from that hump. That's kind of what I was throwing up onto. All right, I made a few casts without a bite. My green hornet's looking a little rugged. Caught too many fish on this bait. Obviously, I've used it a couple of trips. So I'm gonna try something different. A young viewer who's 15 years old started his own bait company. It's called Inshore Innovations. And he asked if he could send me some baits to try. Told him, sure, go ahead, I'd be happy to. This is what he sent. They do look really good. Look like they have a lot of tail action. So I'm gonna give that a whirl. What's this color? It's called Redfish Rampage. It's a mighty mullet paddle tail. Let's try that. All right, Redfish Rampage. Yeah, it's got some good tail action. Let's see what the trout think about it. Oh, there we go. Come on, big boy. Oh, he threw it. He threw the hook. All right, that one liked it. Shoot. I got a bad hook set. There's one. Another bad hook set. Are we gonna lose him too? We'll see. No, he's foul hooked. That's a throwback. A foul hook throwback. Thanks for checking it out, buddy. Hopefully you heal up. Oh, there we go. There's a trout. That feels like a good one. Oh yeah. Real good fish. All right, there we go. It's called Redfish Rampage, but apparently speckled trout like it too. So great to see all these fish along these rocks. You know, particularly since we had that severe Arctic blast, what was it, maybe 6 weeks ago, I guess. A lot of fish died in South Louisiana marsh. I was talking to Randy Pacina, who is a fisheries biologist. He runs the taglouisiana.net program. That's who I get my tags through. He said that the fish loss was actually less significant than they initially thought. And that's kind of played out. Oh, goodness. Oh, I missed him. That was a really good hit. That's kind of played out in catches. We've gotten some good reports since the freeze. So obviously a lot of fish made it. That was a great hit. I don't know how I missed that fish. All I'm doing is just drifting along these rocks and casting until I get a bite, and I'm holding that spot and make repeated casts until that bite peters out. Definitely critical to get down. You just want to kind of pick up your bait and let it fall while you're maintaining contact with it. That's usually when they're going to hit it, on that way down. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to the green hornet, but I tell you what, I'm impressed with this bait, no doubt about it. I wish I was smart enough when I was 15 to come up with a bait with that good of tail action. I think he's gonna do well with it. But you know, this green hornet matrix shad is just a really high confidence bait for me, particularly in the wintertime. Doesn't mean I don't use it in the summer. I certainly do, but I don't know why. This bait just really shines in cooler water temps. I fish it a ton, you know that if you watch the channel regularly. It's my go-to this time of year. Now, admittedly, usually when I'm fishing water this deep, I'll throw the limbo slice. And I have the limbo slice rigged up, but I got it on a 3/8 ounce. And I really feel like this 1/4 ounce is probably making a big difference. You do have to fish it a little slower. It takes a little longer to get down to the bottom between hops. But so many times in this MRGO, I've seen situations where they won't hit the 3/8. Sometimes they won't hit the 1/4. They'll only hit 1/8. Like that first cast. Oh, I missed him. He threw the hook. Through the hook. But I guess if I was going to really test it, I probably should throw the 3/8 a little bit just to see if I can get bit on it. So if you're from South Louisiana, I'd love to hear from you. Comment in the comment section about what you're seeing action-wise in the area you fish. Be sure and let us know the general area you fish. You don't have to give any specifics, obviously, but are you finding... Oh, goodness, that was a good hit. Are you finding a lot of specks and reds? Do you find them to be tough? Did you hear about a bad kill in your area? What are you thinking as we head into spring and into summer? You expecting a good one? Let me know your thoughts. I was definitely expecting a really good spring before the freeze. I don't know, I'm kind of hedging my bets now. Oh, there we go. I'm optimistic based on recent trips. Oh, come on, dude. That's a little guy, but I think he's legal. I think he's big enough to keep. He's really borderline. I'm gonna let him go. I got enough fish. Some days those fish that are right on the button of 13 inches mean a lot when you're really struggling, but we don't need to keep that today. And I've got no qualms with keeping 13-inch fish. Oh goodness, what are you? I think you're bigger than 13. Because I love to eat them. I love those little guys. That's a nice one. He's a solid keeper. All right. Just so awesome. Man, I love fishing South Louisiana. Just love it. Thanks, buddy. Well, there's another one. This time of year, don't go fishing without the green hornet. Come on, dude. Yeah, that's a nice fish. Perfect eating size. How about that? Well, there we go. That didn't take long. Threw in his head. That feels like a decent one. Oh, yeah. All right. I mean, fish you don't even have to measure. Good 15, 16-inch fish. Legal limit here in Louisiana is 13, as I mentioned earlier. These are real good solid eaters. Big spots on this fish, beautiful fish. Well, there we go. It's just every cast now. Yep, rubber stamp of his buddy. There we go. That's a good hit. All right, a little bit smaller, about 14 inches. Easily legal. There's one. There's one. All right, I got a legal limit of fish. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a trip. Bait of the day, obviously, Green Hornet Matrix Shad, 1/4 ounce death grip jig head. As I mentioned, I really feel like this weight of a jig head was essential to my success today. I didn't test it out. I probably should have and thrown that 3/8, but I've just done this so many times out here where the lighter jig head produces far more fish. As I've said, sometimes you can't catch them on a 1/4 and you gotta throw an 1/8. I feel like that bait falls much more slowly, obviously, and that is more tantalizing to those fish. You can't get away with it some days when the winds are brisk, and the wind's picking up a little bit now, but when the wind's really up, you know, your bait will move with that bow in your line. You really kind of just have trouble getting the bait to the bottom. Then you've got to upgrade to a 1/4 ounce if you're throwing an 1/8, or 3/8 if you're throwing a 1/4. But here's the difference in size. This is a 3/8. This is a 1/4, substantially bigger, substantially heavier, obviously. But this is the limbo slice. This is generally the color I like. If I'm fishing water that's about 10 feet or deeper, I tend to go with this. Anything less than that, I like to go with this Green Hornet. This may have delivered for me today, who knows, I didn't even try it. But I got so many bites on this. You're not gonna switch when you're catching fish like that. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the Marshman Masson channel on YouTube. And until next time, if we don't see you in this beautiful South Louisiana marsh, we'll see you right here on Marshman Masson.